Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to Arizona Dreamz. Subscribers, appreciate you. New viewers, you guys subscribe. As you guys know, Arizona Dreamz is about everything that happens in Arizona, everything that we can do in Arizona, our daily lives in Arizona. It's a unique time in the world. We are still dealing with COVID-19. In addition to this global pandemic of a virus, there's another pandemic that is happening, and that is racial tensions, racial inequalities. And one could say that it is a global social pandemic. It's come to light very recently again with George Floyd. And over the past 7 to 8 days, at least in Phoenix, there has been peaceful protests, some minor riots, and some looting. Most of the looting has happened in Scottsdale area. So,
and we're under a curfew right now.
Yeah, and it's 8 o'clock.
Week, yeah,
8 o'clock curfew has been instituted by the governor, Doug Ducey, and that happened a couple days ago. It is a hard time in this world. George Floyd was basically choked to death. His airway was cut off. It was caught on video. A police officer who are sworn to protect and serve, and I can't stress that enough. That's one of the most disturbing pieces of it, is the people that we have trusted to protect us as human beings is caught on camera with his knee to the man's throat for 8 minutes. You can hear the man crying out that he can't breathe. And the human thing to have done, if you already had to engage in that in the first place, it's a whole other subject, is take your knee off and let the man breathe. And he had 3 other police officers with him, so it's not like there was a huge risk at that point. That's just my personal belief. That has sparked a reignition to the cause of racial inequality. I want to be clear, this is not something new. This has been going on since our country was born, and well before that. So I'm going to say centuries. Now, in our house, we happen to be 2 different colors of skin. My daughter happens to reside more on this tone. My sons are, if they were right here, they'd be split right down the middle, and they're not white and they're not black. But you know, in the eyes of most of the world, they're black boys. That causes her a lot of grief and stress. There have been many tearful moments for my wife. There is a deep felt heart pull for me. She will tell you I'm usually fairly stoic about my emotions, but this is a concerning time for me, for my wife, for my family, for the country, for the globe. I don't understand why it takes something like what happened to George Floyd, Trayvon Martin, and the list can go way long. History repeats itself, and we're seeing that. It just keeps repeating itself. The intelligent being learns from the past and changes the future.
I'm struggling right now because it's an emotional topic for me, and I don't normally express it outside of our household. So I'm trying to find the right words. And frankly, you know, I've heard that if you say the wrong thing, you might lose subscribers. You might offend people. But frankly, I feel like we need to be offended. There's some things we just need to be offended about. And if whatever I say and whatever truth I speak offends you enough to unsubscribe, I'm okay with that. Because this is real life that I live every single day. And I've seen people on articles that I read that say, I've unfriended and unfollowed and unsubscribed because I'm tired of hearing about this. I'm tired of the doom and gloom. Well, I can't unsubscribe from this. I can't unfollow this. This is my life and this is my truth. So my life is bigger than a YouTube channel. And I feel like I need to speak up about what I feel, what our family goes through, what I go through. Because when I saw George Floyd on the ground and he was calling for his mother, I don't think I can do this.
Why don't you take a minute?
Wait, I'm gonna get there.
Okay.
When he called for his mother, I saw what could be my sons 15, 20 years from now. That hurt me to the core because it's not right. I don't care what he did. I don't care. I don't know whether he wrote a bad check or not. Is that worthy of a death sentence? Because that's what I keep hearing. Well, he committed crime before. He wrote a bad check. So what?
Well, let's be clear. We live in a country that preaches innocent until proven guilty. Even if he had killed someone, at the point that the police had gotten to him, he was subdued. They could say, I knew full well he killed somebody. I watched him shoot somebody in the head. It doesn't matter. Our system says innocent until proven guilty. So what should have happened is he should have been subdued, fined, cuffed, taken, charged, proceed with the normal process. That didn't happen.
And this is where my problem is, because I've seen a man murder 10 people in a church, and the police took him to McDonald's. I've seen people kill multiple people, and they were able to walk to the car and make it to the jail and make it to trial. And if we want to pretend like there's not a difference in the way some black suspects are treated versus some white suspects, then you might as well just click off right now, because you're not going to agree with anything else I say for the rest of this video. It's not right. This George Floyd situation is not the first time. It's not the 5th time. It's not the 10th time. And it's not just about police brutality and police murder. It's about not being able to jog down the street and have people decide they're going to say you fit the suspects, you fit the profile of somebody else that's supposedly doing crimes, and your life is over. It's about not being able to study in a library or sell lemonade on the street without the police being called on you. It is so many things out there that people are just trying to pretend right now that doesn't exist. It is about, you know what, there are black cops that have killed white men, and I guarantee you that black cop is going to get arrested and tried and probably get a whole lot of jail time from it. We don't have to fight for people to just get arrested for the murders of these people. It hurts me. It angers me. I am a mother, and as he said, my sons being half white, that means nothing to society. I have to tell my sons to almost deny a part of them because I want them to know that they are going to be seen as black men in this world and everything that comes with it. They're going to be viewed a certain way. They're going to be stereotyped a certain way. I have to tell them, you can't be too intimidating, whatever that means. I have to tell them that when the police stop you, you do what you're told. You don't argue. You don't say anything.
You don't give.
You don't get to scream in an officer's face holding a gun and live to tell the tale of that. You don't get to do those things that you may see on TV. That's not your life.
And it's disheartening to have to tell that to a 7 and 5-year-old.
And I have to tell them that now. I have to tell them that. I have to just shatter their innocent worlds by telling them people may not like you just because of the color of your skin. And frankly, when it comes to doing what you're told when it comes to the police, sometimes I just don't even know if that's enough, because there are people who are not resisting arrest and they still die at the scene. And it is scary. I'm telling you, one of the scariest things is to be a black mother, because you have all of these other fears that every other mother has. You know, you want your kid to grow up to be successful. You want your kid to be safe when they go to a party at night. You want your kid to have a good life. But I have fears that other people, and black fathers too, that other people don't have. And now he has that fear too. Because I have to understand that, you know, we've had discussions where he said, okay, I kind of get more about what it's like. And I've gotten really like offended, really touchy about it. Like, no, you don't. Because you can go out there and be white. I can't not be black.
But my kids.
But I have to see his point of view that he now is a father of what are considered black children. And he has those same fears and concerns. I have fears that some woman is going to call the police on my son for something stupid and bring the police into it, and what happens after that. I have this fear that my children will be called racial slurs. Well, my daughter has already been called that multiple times. I haven't even been called that to my face. That just breaks my heart, because the life that I wanted for my children, the life that I thought would be better than my generation, better than my mother's generation, I feel like almost they're living in a more heated, more tense environment right now. So when people want to say that this isn't about what it is not as bad as it is, try living this life.
You mentioned it with me. You know, I grew up a white kid and a white man. The adage of you don't know a man until you walk in their shoes totally applies to what she's talking about. It is hard for somebody that has never been followed through a grocery store for no other reason than the color of their skin or the way they look to understand that she can't come home and take that mask off and say, ta-da, I'm a white person. It's all good. It's every morning she wakes up, she has to deal with this. My daughter will have to deal with this. My sons will have to deal with this. It is a conversation that my parents could never, ever, ever prepare me for to give to my children. To tell my 7-year-old, don't give them a reason. Look them in the eyes. Never get fidgety. And that some of these things they don't even understand. To shatter the innocence, like she said, of our children. My teenager, she's aware now. But you know, she mentioned that she was called the N-word on a playground when she was 9 or 10 years old.
And I wanted for the people who want to know if they should move to Arizona because they're black or they're part of an interracial relationship. I'm just going to tell you, Arizona is no better and no worse than anywhere else pretty much. Because she was called the N-word in Michigan. She's been called the N-word here. For the first time in my life, I was followed in a store here, and I told him about it. I went to a store to get some props for our cooking videos that we do on another channel, and this woman was so sweet and so nice, and she just wouldn't leave me alone. She kept following me around the store saying, can I help you with something? Do you need help with something? And I'm like, no, I've already told you no. And I'm seeing all these other people in the store that she's not asking could she help them? And I didn't want to think, oh, it's because I'm black, because that's not the first place that I always go. But she kept following me around, and I noticed that when I was in the checkout line, she didn't ask for anybody else's ID with their ATM card, but she asked for mine. And she was nice and sweet the whole time, and I knew exactly what that was about. It's stuff like that that just builds up over time. I didn't know how black I was until I started a job in Ohio. So there's nowhere you can really go. There's no paradise where we're just going to get away from it.
I'm not saying that I can truly relate to what she goes through because I'm not black. And at the end of the day, I can separate myself from the family and be in an environment and no one knows. And I can enjoy the white privilege that I've been given by being born a Caucasian man. She can't do that. She can never separate herself from us and be able to go into any place, be anywhere, and be at peace 100%. So for those of you that are saying, well, you're jumping to the race card because somebody followed you around the store, you don't know. I can tell you for certain, I've seen it happen to us when we're together. And I've been in that same place without her or without my children and gotten a completely different reaction from the same staff.
I want it better for my children. That's where my frustration is right now, because I want it so much better for my children. I want them to be given the benefit of the doubt. Mm-hmm. I want them to, when they succeed at work, not be assumed it's because of affirmative action or because they know someone, like has happened to me. I want them to be given a fair shake.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the future holds for them. And I'm not asking anybody to feel sorry for us. I'm not asking for a handout. I'm asking for people to care and to help us make this world better for them.
Yeah, I'm asking for change.
I'm not asking for your pity. I don't need your pity. I need you to help make a difference instead of trying to hide behind all the things that we keep throwing out there. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the looters. Let's talk about the destruction of property. I will say right now, I don't agree with that. I don't accept that as part of what we need to do. I don't think it's right.
When we post things like the names of black people that have died unjustly, like we did very recently, I don't think that people understand that black on black crime doesn't have anything to do with that. It has nothing to do with that. Nobody ever talks about white on white crime, but it happens all the freaking time. You don't ever hear that. When someone says Black Lives Matter, it's not to exclude Blue Lives Matter. It's not to exclude All Lives Matter. They do matter, but that's not the point. The whole point of that chant, that call, is to make you realize that black people, people of color, are just as important as the rest.
And right now, we don't feel like our lives are as valuable. We feel like our lives are disposable. So, of course, all lives matter. But the emergency, the situation at hand is black lives, because we can be murdered and there can be no consequences. Mm-hmm. We can be murdered by police, we can be murdered by people on the street, and there can be no consequences. You know, they say the thing about if you have cancer or cancer runs in your family, your mother had it, your grandmother had it, your aunt had it, your uncle had it. And that cause and that concern is near and dear to your heart. We don't get on people's cases when they go and they run 4Ks for it. They go to charities, they donate, they speak out about we need a cure for cancer. We don't say, well, you know how silly that would seem? All diseases matter.
Yeah. Heart disease matters.
You don't care about a cure for AIDS? You don't care about a cure for this? Of course. But because that is a danger in your family, and that is a literal cancer in your family, you're going to be more passionate about that because that affects you directly. That is something that's killing the people that are in your family. Nobody's going to say all diseases matter. I would never say that to someone. If you were talking to me about your cancer and how it runs in your family and how it's a really huge issue, I would never say to you, well, what about that disease? What about this disease? Of course I know you care about those, but this is a pressing issue for that person right now. And that's all we're saying. Maybe we should just say Black Lives Matter too. Black Lives Matter just as much. Black lives should matter. If that'll make you feel better, if that'll make you not feel like you always have to respond to that with the all lives matter. And I know that not everybody that says that means any harm, but I want you to know how that makes me feel, because it feels like you're dismissing what my concern is right now. If you want to go and protest about All Lives Matter, if you want to go hold some signs, if you want to speak out about that, that's your right. But I don't hear that until somebody says Black Lives Matter. I don't hear about, when we talk about police officers, I know that not all police officers are bad. Let's get back to the looting. I know all police officers are not bad. There are some bad people, there are some bad apples, but not all police officers are bad. I hear not all white people are racist. I agree with you. I believe that there are some bad apples in white people that are racist, and a whole bunch of other white people are not.
Well, at least one.
At least one. But when we get looters and people burning down buildings in the street, we want to dismiss a whole movement. We want to dismiss a whole movement based on a small number of people. Mm-hmm. Because most of these protesters are protesting peacefully. Most of these protesters are not causing harm. But we want to say the whole movement is no longer valid because we have these rogue people who are causing harm and who are destroying. And if you look on the news, which people seem to not want to see, a lot of people are white in that mix. Mm-hmm. A lot of people are white. You'll have black people I've seen black people say, we didn't ask you to do this for us. Please don't deface that building. Please don't do that. That's not helping us. It's not just us, guys. It's not just us. And you're not going to make it go away about why these people are protesting in the first place. Mm-hmm. I think looting and destroying property of innocent people may not agree with me. I get why they're angry. But if you want the message to be heard, don't give them an out. Don't give people an out to say, but the looters. Yeah. Don't give the news media an out to show that on the nightly news instead of you protesting and what you're protesting about. I'm more passionate than I've ever been on this channel because this issue is serious and it's near and dear to my heart and it affects my family. You're darn right. I'm going to be passionate about something that affects my family and my children and their children's children because this issue doesn't seem to be going away. I'm so tired of people that just want to disparage this movement because of bad actors. Anybody can go out to a protest. You can't disassociate anybody that does any bad thing with the movement. I can go out there. You can go out there. Anybody can go out there in the name of this movement and do whatever they want. So please stop using that excuse. It's like people are silent about injustice. They are silent about racism. And they wait till that one bad thing happens, i.e. looting, destruction, now they found their voice. Now they found well, look at what happened here. Look at what they did to them. You couldn't say anything before, but when something bad happens, now you found your voice.
So to people that believe that Black lives truly matter, that racial inequality needs to be addressed, get vocal about that and say, hey, let's knock off that side stuff. And like she's saying, let's get out there and do the protests. Write to your congressman, write to your House of Reps, write to your mayor, write to your local paper, your favorite website that features columns like that. Don't give up the fight.
And as he said, there are many lanes to be in with this. There are many ways to help. I know that my lane is not being out protesting right now. I know that. We are the only ones who are the caretakers of our children. Mm-hmm. There are some crazy things that can go down there. Mm-hmm. I haven't forgot there's a pandemic.
Yes, COVID's still there.
But you know what? Somebody said we're either gonna die from this pandemic or we're gonna die by police. So they picked their poison, I guess. And that's kind of how they feel.
I think, let's be fair, if we did not have children, we'd probably be
that's what I'm saying, because we don't have anybody to,
we have nobody
we can't be out there
anywhere near us that can come in and take
we have to be a little bit more careful about how we do it. And I want to mention the white allies. okay? Because I know a lot of people think that black people just think all white people are racist or against them. I don't. I appreciate the white people that I've seen in those protests. I'm not talking about the looters and the crazy. I'm talking about people that are just protesting with us. We need you. We need those allies. I appreciate that. I appreciate white people who speak up for this cause. Because we're not gonna get things done without a variety of people who are pushing for this. I appreciate white people who don't let their family members get away with racism. I appreciate white people who teach their children, you don't call people the N-word, so that maybe my children don't have to keep going through that. There are just many ways that you can have an impact on that. And I know that there are a lot of good white people in the world who support this, who understand, who get it, who are trying to find their voices.
We also appreciate the policemen and the leaders that are doing the right thing. Like my wife said earlier, we know not all cops are bad. We've seen evidence of it on the news where a cop is giving somebody a hug. It's a white cop giving a person of color a hug in a protest, where the cops take a knee when the man calls out, take a knee, in reference to that prior protest. And they did. Keep doing that. Keep that fight going.
And if you are out there protesting, don't let anybody ever tell you protesting doesn't work or that it does no good. Because have you seen the civil rights movement? Have you read about that? Have you watched anything on that? We got a lot accomplished through protesting, through sit-ins, through boycotting. You know, if we remain silent, which is what it seems like it is desired to do by some people, because there's no way that's good enough for us to protest. We do it peacefully and silently. That's not right. We speak up, we're told to sit down and be quiet. We go out on the streets, that's not good enough either. But you know what we get from not taking it anymore and from speaking up? We get desegregated schools. We get the right to vote. We get the right to sit anywhere we want to in a restaurant and not have a colored section and not have a colored water fountain and colored bathrooms. We get a desegregated military. We get a Rosa Parks who stood up or didn't stand up.
I was gonna say, she actually did exactly. She
literally sat and started a whole movement that people were inspired by. Right. She just said, I was tired that day and I wasn't gonna give up my seat. And she inspired and has inspired millions of people. So please, do not think that your protesting is in vain. We get somewhere with this.
The smallest acts. Everybody has a voice. Don't ever let anybody tell you you don't have a voice. For those of you that disagree with what we've said today, try to step back and think about what it would be like to be in her shoes, my daughter's shoes, my son's shoes. Try to step back and just remove all of your preconceived notions and think about what it's like to be followed in a grocery store for no reason. To be stopped because of the color of your skin.
There are still places that we can't live.
Absolutely.
There are still neighborhoods
Absolutely.
that we can't live. There are still schools that I can't send my children to because I know their lives will be hell on earth. We have not come as far as people would like to think. I'm just trying to let you know what it's like to be me. Again, not for your pity, for your understanding. I don't want you to say, I don't see color. When I have friends, I don't see color. I want you to see my color. I want you to see my brown skin and accept me for that. I want you to see my brown skin and understand me rather than stereotype me. I want you to see my brown skin and understand what has made me and why I am what I am. Because if you say I don't see color, then you can turn a blind eye to what our color brings to us. You can turn a blind eye to racism. You can turn a blind eye to the disparities that are going on between white and black and other people of color. I want you to see my color and know that I am just like you. We're not animals. These are the things that I've seen on the articles of late. We're not animals. We're not savages. We're not criminals, thieves, thugs. We are people. We feel, we hurt. We are someone's son, we are someone's daughter, brother, sister. We have hopes for the future. We breathe, we work, and all we want is to raise our families and be treated the same way as everybody else. All we want is for people to see us as human beings, not as something that is less than, not as something that is deserving of whatever treatment we get. It's not right. It's just not right. And I'm just so tired of people who don't even see us as human beings. They see us as stereotypes. Yeah, I knew this was gonna happen. That's why it took so long, because I knew that all this stuff that I hold in every single day was gonna just come out.
That's a good thing, though. It's gotta feel a little cathartic.
Yeah, it does.
Like she said, she's a mother, she's a wife, she's a daughter, she's a human being. I know life is not fair, but there are certain human equalities that should be across the board to human beings.
I'm just tired. I'm just really tired. And I really hope some change comes out of this. And I've said before, if what we've said today bothers you that much, I think you need to ask yourself why. Mm-hmm. Why? Because I don't think we've said anything that was wrong or controversial. I don't think basic human rights is political.
It's not.
It's not political. It is just basic human rights. It is just wanting to not be killed by police. It is just wanting to just have a better life for our families.
Yes.
For our children, for ourselves. And I hope that maybe today you got a deeper understanding of what it's like to be black in America. Mm-hmm. I have my reasons for being a little angry sometimes. I do, but I don't have a chip on my shoulder. I just want to see something change.
Yes.
And I'm frustrated. I am very frustrated right now. And I pray for this country because we are in a mess right now.
I want to read something off of a post I made just to drive home the point. So excuse me while I don't look at the camera. I say to you that we cannot let this be yet another story that is whitewashed away. We must continue to fight now more than ever. I'm hopeful that the current state of our country, the United States of America, with the rightful unrest, does not stop until we as a country learn and work to make this right once and for all. To be clear, this is not a black or a person of color problem. This is truly a world problem, and it needs to be resolved by uniting, not dividing. The United States of America touts itself on being the land of the free. It isn't. Let's work together to make the United States great again and the land of the free, for real, for everyone, by uniting. We've given you a lot to talk about, and I'm sure we're going to see some comments on this guy. But you know what? Discussion is the beginning to change. Again, use your voice, however that is that you do it. Keep fighting. We've got to make a change. You know the drill. Subscribe, share, like, comments down below. Check back for the next video. One love, one world. Take care.